especially on one, another one, that one before.
Oh, haven't you?
Huh.
There was a few in that one when we, because Tanya straightened one.
How you doing?
How's it going?
Good.
So, yeah. But he does, the guy that's doing the lawns out there does a great job. And he
That's the
cleaned
same
up,
guy that
yeah, does
all
ours.
our stuff now, the young guy.
Mhm. He cleaned up Fleming. Fleming was so bad when Tanya and I went out there. It was the worst. And he's actually trimmed trees in there. He's cleaned back over towards the fence. You wouldn't even see the stones when we went out there that first time. Everything was covered with leaves and stuff. And he's done so much in there and cleaned it out. We just need to get a new sign now.
Yeah, that one does look kind of rough.
Even if we had it taken down, painted, and done nice.
So it would be, nice to get someone to go in there and try to straighten that stuff.
Have you ever lifted one of those?
No, and I'm not sure I want to, but I mean, but the way they're, some of them are misshapen, I don't know if there's.
They need a good foundation because in that cemetery they need their foundations. And some of them are broken. I mean,
How you doing?
can't even.
Right.
I mean, now they say it's best to just lay them down
Is that what their recommendation?
so that they don't fall over and hurt somebody.
Well, the ones most of them are this one's
Well, trees growing.
and
There's one that the tree is moving up. Jane?
Hello.
So yeah, I want to get the sign done out there. Well, actually, both signs need
So
done.
the guy
Pioneer needs done,
the guy
redone.
that was doing our opening and closing today, he had a service to,
Oh, did he?
yeah. So he was on that.
Mike?
Guy's name was Glenn.
Oh, he might work for Mike.
He had just, it was an open, cremation. I don't know, they probably don't schedule, I don't know.
Not with us, no.
No. But, he had just placed the headstone. He had ripped that.
Did he put the headstone or did he put the,
He put a headstone in because he had just put fresh dirt with seed, but he couldn't get it set.
it's supposed to have a foundation.
He said he couldn't cut through with the shovel.
I'll have to look because I think they're supposed to have foundations in there. It's just a slab of cement for the stone to sit on.
It's usually like 4 inches bigger than the stone the stone sits on.
Yeah.
Just like a foundation.
Because that way the stone doesn't sink.
I mean, it was a big stone.
Okay,
About that tall, about,
yeah, but otherwise they'll sink.
did you see the foundation on it? It was set up. It's a fresh.
I'll be able to tell.
It goes back all the way on the road, like the last one.
That's my favorite part of the job, actually,
Just go to the second.
is taking care of the cemetery.
Oh.
I did the city,
I hate to sound morbid, but I mean, the history that's there.
right. I did the city one for a long time.
I mean, you look at the names and you understand why everything is named the way it is.
Yep. A lot of it is the history in it.
Especially, I mean, when you start seeing, I had to look up GAR on the veterans thing. And I seen it before, and you thought, I couldn't remember the name of the Civil War. I couldn't remember what it was. Which is probably what they call it.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, 6:30, call the regular meeting Howell Township to order. Roll call.
Mike Coddington.
Here?
Sue Doss.
Here?
Jonathan Hohenstein.
Here.
Matt Counts.
Here.
Tim Bull.
Here.
Shane Fagan.
Here.
Bob Wilson.
Here. You join me in the pledge to the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call to the board. Any additions or subtractions to the agenda?
Mr. Coddington?
Yes.
No additions or subtractions. I would just like to declare the conflict of interest in unfinished business, Howell Township versus Fagan appeal. That is in fact me, so I will abstain from voting on any business thereof. Thank you.
Okay. Any other?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
On unfinished business, I'd like to add a number E, the American Legion discussion.
Okay. Anything else? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Support, Bull.
Motion by Hohenstein, seconded by Bowl. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I oppose.
Motion carries. Approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of June 9th.
Move to accept the minutes for the regular board meeting of June 9th as presented.
Support.
Motion by Hohenstein, seconded by Doss. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
Oppose.
Motion carries. Request to add trustees Wilson's statement as an addendum to the May board meeting.
I'll support that. I'll make
It's
the
all
motion.
lies.
I'm sorry, there was a motion by Doss,
All right.
and you supported?
For my stuff to go in, yes.
Okay. Motion by Doss, seconded by Wilson. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
What are we voting on? To support it or not?
To support it.
Support it.
To add it.
Okay.
Hohenstein.
No.
Counts.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Bull.
No.
Doss. Yes. Coddington.
Yes.
Fagan.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Request to add trustee Bowles' rebuttal to trustee Wilson's statements as an addendum to the May board meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support it. Motion by Doss, seconded by Counts. Discussion? Roll call?
It's all a bunch of lies, but
Coddington.
Yes?
Bull.
Yes.
Doss.
Yes.
Counts.
Yes.
Fagan.
Yes.
Hohenstein.
No.
Wilson.
nope.
Motion carries. Call to the public. Seeing none, unfinished business A is the Howell Township. Jason's coming in. He did let me know he's going to be about 15 minutes late. So I guess if we could get a motion to deviate from the agenda.
I do see our people here for 8F, or 8E, I apologize, 8E. No, you're not ready yet? Not here yet, okay, apologies.
Okay,
I
so
guess we'd deviate to 7B.
B, yep. That's informational?
That's
or-
just informational.
Okay.
Yes.
7C.
So after the last meeting, Teresa, Matt, and myself met to discuss what the board was looking for. Really what came out of it is that this is a lot to deal with. It's a lot that, the board needs to consider. It'd probably be wise to create an ad hoc committee, let them gather the information and do all the legwork, and bring it back to the board for decisions. So that's kind of what we came up with to move this forward.
Any thoughts?
The last time we met, we had, we were talking about having a couple of the applicants come in and do a little bit more in-depth proposal. We're not going down that path now?
The struggle is that it's a sensitive topic that we would struggle to necessarily get all of our questions answered in a public setting. So we thought that getting, in-depth questions, talking to let the committee talk to the companies, get our questions addressed, our concerns addressed. And then bringing back, and maybe the committee, after talking to these, maybe some get eliminated from the list just because you're not addressing the concerns we brought up and that sort of thing. But
How big would the committee be and where would the members come from?
so, considering the sensitivity of it, I don't think it would be members from the public. I think you'd have to have at least one staff member, and then, you could have a couple board members. You couldn't have a quorum. So,
Matt, you have the most background in it. Do you have any bandwidth to fit that in?
Who was coming?
He
Who was
did.
coming?
He's when he saw that title, he knew it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And a staff member, you thinking Teresa, because she's already
Because she put in
up
all
to
the
speed?
work. Yep.
okay. Any others? Do you want to be as long as you're in the office?
I can be. That's not an issue. I didn't know if anybody else was interested.
It's
No one
not
else?
Hearing none, it sounds like you volunteered.
Sure.
Okay.
Come on, guys, technology's not all that boring.
So I guess, is there a motion to approve a cyber IT committee of Counts and Teresa and Jonathan?
I'll make the motion to approve the committee.
Support, Bull.
Motion by Doss, seconded by Bowl. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. ADU ordinance?
So this is the one that we sent back to the Planning Commission. They looked at it. I don't believe, well, I was gonna say nothing changed except for the fact that it changed when the planner took it to the Planning Commission. And I believe we've now changed it back. Tim noticed some changes that the planner made. Did you see anything else that was?
No, I think the changes we discussed at the planning commission were put back in, and I think the concerns with the cost and the expense of the special use permit was addressed too, so we don't have that anymore.
The only other comment I have is it needs to be somewhere on the fee schedule as to when they apply for it. And I didn't know, where the board wanted on the fee schedule. And this can be a separate discussion after we've passed the ordinance, but I think we need to think about how that fits on there, especially if we are recording, basically like a deed restriction. Because currently it's $30 at the Register of Deeds to do that. Which is what the ordinance calls for. So I just want to make sure that we were being cognizant if we do this, that it needs to be, our fee schedule needs to change, and we need to understand what our fees are.
They would just be covering the cost of it though, correct?
Well, so I think if the fee, so normally when you get a permit for something, our fee schedule calls out how much that is. If we want to set this at a flat rate, we can, as long as it covers that cost, or we could set it at, listen, it's a $50 permit plus $30 to record this thing at the Register of Deeds.
I'd be happy if it just covered the cost of it. The $30 obviously that we have to record the deed, so.
We don't need that tonight, though. You'd bring back a fee schedule to approve.
We can, I mean, we can look at it next time for sure.
Okay. Either way.
This whole ADU ordinance, you know, it's really, you're taking control of who people can let live in their house, and I think that's totally wrong. If you look at the ordinance real close, you know, it's a matter of if you guys, you know, declare that bedroom and bathroom and ADU, you know, and that can only be family. I couldn't let a military friend of mine from years ago come in and live with me, and I got a huge problem with that.
Mr. Supervisor, just a couple of clarifying statements. I think I was, you know, in the last meeting, Tim, you and I had the exchange, and I was a big proponent of saying I don't want to create hardship on a resident to have to come back in front of the Planning Commission. What I don't want to do is take away any sort of input that the Planning Commission has on how the ordinance is written. My main concern is not necessarily the oversight, but it's about the burden on the resident, right? So one of the things, Tim, that you and I had talked about was, are there other conditions that could be implemented, or could we in some way, like, I don't know, Jonathan, from your perspective, if an administrative review, like, is there a situation where in an administrative review you wouldn't feel comfortable making a decision? What happens then?
So, I mean, in the end, you have to make a decision, and then the decision can be challenged.
Okay.
Because there's a process for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That helps. And then, Tim, from your perspective, like the Planning Commission didn't feel there was any way that there was anything additional they wanted to implement in place of a full review with the Planning Commission for residents?
So I think the thought behind having it come to the planning commission is because every situation could be different, so we can't write for every situation. Unfortunately, and like you brought up, the cost of coming before the planning commission, we couldn't get beyond that, so.
Okay.
We're hoping we have enough guardrails inside what's there, and with the administrative review, hopefully that'll cover it.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or thoughts? It's your pleasure.
So I would move to accept the zoning ordinance to permit ADUs, which is ordinance number 292 as presented.
Support, Bull.
Motion by Hohenstein, second by Bowl. Discussion?
I think
Roll
it's a
call.
bad ordinance.
I'm sorry?
I think it's a bad ordinance. I think it tries to control too much of who gets to live in your home. Because how many people out there right now are living with one of their friends? You know what I mean? That's gonna make them illegal, you know what I mean? Already, I mean, there's people out there already you're gonna have to go after.
I'm not seeing that. I mean,
As a real estate agent, I've seen a lot of houses with mother-in-law quarters and additional living quarters. I mean, they're out there.
I have 2 extra bedrooms in my house, and I have friends stay all the time. That does not make them an ADU.
There's a lot of people out there renting part of somebody's house right now. You may not see it in your little bitty world, but they're out there.
Okay, any other discussion?
The ADU would be specific to family. A rental within the home would have to be specific to what the township defines as family. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I would agree with Bob in saying that we're putting too much government control over who can live in your home at that case, and family is a pretty flexible term today, so I guess I'm not gonna worry too much about that as far as that goes, but I do think it's an overreach of government, and I would agree with Bob on that, so that's all.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Wilson,
Nope.
Hohenstein,
Yes.
Bull,
Yes.
Bagan,
No.
Cottington,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Counts.
Yes.
Ordinance passes. Okay, we'll do American Legion and then we'll jump back up to A.
So just in the interest of clarity, I know we discussed it last time and we were talking about having a legal opinion come back because it was postponed until this meeting. I was wondering if we could discuss what happened or if anything has happened. There were some people that were gonna reach out and maybe talk with the Legion.
Yes.
I don't know if that occurred.
The legal opinion came back at 4 something this afternoon. No attorneys to be able to answer our questions. So I decided to put it off for the month because we are it's a legal opinion. We're gonna go into a closed session. I thought if we could go into closed session, we could review it. That's gonna cause questions that we gotta answer back to the attorney. For cost savings, I thought it'd be better to have the attorneys present in the room so we can get all of the answers from them at one shot.
Okay, thank you.
If it would have come in earlier, we would be doing it, but I didn't think having somebody there to answer the questions, because there's gonna be lots of questions in the review of the document, or their opinion.
So this was the legal opinion off the resolution that was
Correct.
rendered. So I have prepared another resolution that basically accomplishes the same thing. However, it was crafted by myself.
Okay.
But I would like to see the legal opinion. At this point, could I pass the resolution out to the board and we can hold it until the next? You said we'll go into a closed session meeting to discuss.
Next month.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Because obviously I'm working off a short time frame too as of this morning, so.
Right.
If that's acceptable to everyone, I would like to distribute the resolution and we can postpone it until we
Okay.
see.
There won't be a legal opinion on that one, though?
Correct.
Okay. That's fine.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
I have no problem with you distributing another form. The American Legion ticket, what was the basis of that ticket? I mean, what ordinance was it issued under, Jonathan? Could you tell me off the top of your head?
We talked about it at the last meeting. I don't have it off the top of my head, no.
I don't remember talking about which ordinance. We didn't. I listened to it over. But I mean, I have the same question. Which ordinance did they violate?
Want, I'm more than willing to look into your question and get you an answer.
I guess we'll move on from there. You could email out a response. I would be fine with that. The next question for Mike, assuming there is an ordinance that's been violated by the American Legion, or maybe not even by the American Legion, would it be possible to change that ordinance to appease the situation? I know you repeatedly said even if the ticket is dismissed, the violation is still present. So would there be another way to perhaps remove the violation by removing the language of the ordinance that they are said to be violating? Could that possibly be?
Ordinance can be changed, but if the ordinance is in place for a purpose, we'd have to see what the ordinance is, and because if you change the ordinance, and that allows it to go everywhere else also, so.
Understood. Thank you.
Is it common practice to issue a person a violation that doesn't own the land that the violation's on? I mean, why would you give your neighbor a
Generally
violation?
doesn't happen on a regular basis because people handle it themselves.
I would assume, excuse me, Trustee Wilson, I
Fine.
would assume the Legion has not contacted the township.
Nope.
All right, I saw a news article, so I had just assumed there was no contact made.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else on that? I guess, can we have a motion to go back to 7A?
I'll make a motion to go back to 7A.
Support.
Motion by Doss, seconded by Counts. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You want to do a presentation? Okay. All right. Okay. So what you have, as soon as I can get back to it, is the proposal from Lindau to provide the oversight of the hall, I guess take these things as two different things, the hall renovations. So they would do the design, it's all in there. I don't have mine open in front of me, so.
So, you have experience with Lindau through the fire authority.
Yes, they're currently working with Howell Fire on the new fire station addition.
Okay. When you were, on the fire authority, when you're working through this, can you kind of explain the process?
They came in with general ideas, worked with the members of the fire department. They kind of gave a couple of choices, then they would go back, revamp that a little bit, come back with the suggestions that were given, and then narrow it down, and they just kept coming, getting it more dialed in on every step. So as far as the building renovation, I don't think that is going to be, there's only so much space and so many revisions you could make. I think for this one, it's more important to have somebody on board that is, number one, connected with the builders, understands the detail that's needed, and where the problems are going to run into. They have a list of known contractors that they can use. So rather than going open bid and having to really dive down into every single detail to be concerned that you're going to get quality people, they can do an invite bid with the people that they know they work well with.
So we're just paying for the design from Lindau and to contract out the work. And then we have to pay the contractors additional.
Correct.
But this is not just design, this quote includes bidding phase, construction design phase, construction phase as well.
Correct.
Yep.
So it's to oversee the project as the architect
Yes, for the renovation.
for the renovation.
The new property is a different discussion.
Understood. I don't see anything in here about engineering. Am I misunderstanding?
Engineering in terms of mechanical, electrical, plumbing would be part of our number, as well as any structural if needed.
Would be part of this quote from a design perspective.
We don't anticipate any structural needs, the NEP, they would be under our umbrella.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? Now, we do have the other two bids that were added into the, that we originally had. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but Schaefer is one that you've worked with in the past?
Yes, yeah, we've worked with them a ton over the years.
Okay. So it would be, most likely that Schaefer would come back with a bid, but we'd have some oversight of, we're not building people. So, not that we would dish Schaefer, but, if they came in and were doing something that wasn't to par, we wouldn't probably catch that mistake. That's where we're gonna rely on some professional eyes to make sure we're getting what we're supposed to be getting.
So more than likely Schaefer would still charge them what they had originally bid. So we're just paying an additional fee to have somebody oversee all that.
More or less.
Which is,
Is that a fair statement, Jim, in your opinion?
Yes, I think we're talking about two different things. There's different ways that projects can be delivered. And I think I don't know all the details, but what I'm assuming is Schaefer's presented a design build contract. And so in that instance, you're interfacing with the contractor directly. You have to have an architect, this is a commercial builder. The
packaged through Schaefer, then you have, in my opinion, less control over quality, maybe materials and finishes. Whereas if you're hiring us up front, then Schaefer's bidding on those drawings that we produce. So it's two different ways of delivering a project.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This drawing, Mike, is, it's not a final drawing, or is it?
No, I think that was
Or
just
is
off
this
of
current?
what we were looking at
Okay.
of the original plan.
Just as a matter of discussion for the board, I did come up and do a walkthrough of the facility, and there is a good bit of wear and tear in this building, and it definitely shows its age, and some of the loosely put together features in here definitely could be addressed through a renovation. And I do believe it's probably better to separate the architect from the builder, to keep a better control over quality throughout this project if we are to go forward with it.
Okay, thank you. Any other thoughts, concerns?
I don't have any concerns over, I mean, I completely understand the concept of this is a commercial building, so therefore we have to have an architect, and I get all that. I guess I'm more trying to understand where we're at in the design phase. Like this is just a concept design? Is that what that is?
I think that's the one Schaefer put together, yeah.
Oh.
This,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's,
So basically, you would come in and kind of do something completely fresh?
Yeah, what I'd seen was just kind of a space diagram, there's not walls or anything, so we would kind of take that, digest it, get, staff input, produce something that's more of a floor plan.
Okay, okay, understood.
Still schematic, and then, like Mike was saying, then we come back to the team, make sure we get input, and we revise things, and then proceed to the next phase.
Thank you.
What happened to the addition that they were gonna put out here?
We can't.
Can't?
setbacks.
We have setbacks and we have lot coverage. We're already at our maximum lot coverage percentage, so we wouldn't be able to exceed that.
You guys control variances.
I'm sorry?
I said, you guys control variances, I don't get it, so.
Probably won't be appropriate for the township to ask for a variance for itself.
For a public building, I would think it wouldn't be inappropriate.
But then I don't know if we'd have the parking for elections anyhow.
There's plenty of room out here.
It goes back to more lot coverage.
It could be gravel too.
so is this fee of $21,000 I'm seeing here, is that roughly $21,875? Is that to have the engineer oversee it? Is that what we're looking at?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we would have whatever builder is gonna come in and actually do the work, we'll have his.
We'd have a bid process and, yeah, then we'd pay for the bid.
That 20,000+, is that, just a down payment and then there's still an hourly assessment throughout the job? Or that's it?
That's a fixed fee, yeah.
Okay.
From SD all the way through construction observation.
Okay.
So for the security of having a separate architect overseeing the project is costing
22.
22 grand.
Yep,
Is
unless you want to volunteer.
absolutely not.
Okay. So it's your pleasure.
I would move to accept the contract with Lindhout Associates for $21,875 as presented.
Support.
Motion by Homestein, seconded by Counts. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
One opposed. Okay, so then we go on to the community center. So this is the building on Thule Road, and I think we gotta look at this in like 4 different segments. Number one, the design of the building, that's what they're gonna help us with. But we also wanna work with Spicer to get the full layout. We wanna make sure that we have a 10-year plan for the property, so we don't, build this building right in the middle of where it should have been a soccer field, or there's manhole covers out there for the sewer line. We don't wanna plant a baseball field there. So I think it's gonna be work on the design of the building when we know the footprint of the building, but also be working at the same time on the full layout of the park itself, the whole property itself. Is that,
So is this gonna dovetail pretty much into the park plan that's coming up here too, with Spicer and?
all together as one? Cause is this a full, recreation plan where the surveys go out and everything else, or is this just an update?
So this is more of a master plan for the park, so it's
Just the
understand-
park,
just
not a
the
recreation
park
plan.
property, right?
Okay.
yeah. It's understanding what it is that we'd wanna do and where it is that would go.
So we got three entities working.
Now, looking forward on the agenda, it looks like we're gonna have, be able to extend the contract with Livingston EMS, so we won't be, at least get a couple years more, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought at one time we were kinda waiting to see if that was gonna move forward or not before we continued to move forward with talks of a community center. Is that?
So I mean, I don't wanna jump ahead, but the contract only goes through 2028, and they are not going to extend it any further, so.
They didn't wanna do these 2 years that were coming.
And that's not even guaranteed, right? So they could terminate it early. So even if it goes through 2028, I still feel like you better be moving forward on this, because I don't know how long this whole process will take and for us to be ready after 2028. I'm not saying to make a decision today, it's just that all these little steps take time, and over time, it's gonna increase and it's gonna build to the point where 2028's here and we haven't done anything.
I understand, and without being able to do an addition on this building, elections just aren't gonna be possible in the future here, unless there's a massive reduction in in-person voting,
Mm-hmm.
which I would say we've seen quite a reduction in in-person, or is that not accurate?
There was quite a bit in the last one for the early voting. People did do the early voting. But you also have to remember, our early voting is done with the city of Howell-Kahakta, so they furnish the place right now. If something was to happen and we had to do it ourselves, we wouldn't be able to.
And we anticipate a lot of other, aspects to the community center that would benefit the community as well, not
Absolutely.
Not just for voting, but,
Absolutely.
I guess if the property doesn't become our community center and park and, something for the residents to use, then we can peel off whatever you could imagine that property to end up in the future, more housing development, maybe solar fields. But anyways, so we're probably moving in the right direction as far as I see it. As much of a bullet as it is to bite, I do believe it is necessary as we are continuing to grow as a community.
Okay.
My question on what is presented from Lindhout, to me, this sounds more like what we're asking later in the packet from Spicer and Carlisle Warman. You have the 2 quotes in there.
So that was my concern, was having too many irons in, or too many
Cooks
in the kitchen. Right, so is this something Spicer or Carlisle Warman, or?
I mean, the way I read this, I guess I would prefer to, look at what it would cost to start the you know, building, looking at what it is we're looking to do, similar to almost the contract we had with this building. But I would kind of ask that we're asking for step one, you know, not all 5 steps.
Well, I understand we need basically the footprint of the building to know where it's gonna be placed, right?
Right.
So where would that,
I think
could
it-
Spicer do that?
Well, I think beyond footprint is you need to ask, what are you gonna do in it? Because I think that determines the footprint, but it
Mhm.
also determines
Absolutely.
how many parking spots you need. So what you're doing in that square footage, if it's a huge soccer field, well, there's probably less people that will play on one soccer field at a time than probably the community center sees.
And I think that's where Carlisle Waterman, their recreation person, has more experience in that than the engineers or the architects. So,
Maybe.
yeah, like I said, we gotta fit all the pieces together on, because, I mean, I don't know what your experience is on designing soccer fields and pickleball courts and whatever else might be the future.
We do it, we've done it, but there's a reason why the civil engineers are one of the 3 pieces that Mike's talking about.
Right.
So our proposal was more for the building aspect, to help establish the number of parking spots, like somebody just said, and make sure we've got enough space planned for in the building to help establish the footprint. And then we talked to the civil engineers as to where that should go on site, and then they can do their master plan around that. So we're kind of talking back and forth. That's why it's kind of a loose hourly contract, not to exceed right now, just to help establish that master plan.
Okay. Do we want to table this for a moment, or
That would be,
till we get through everything else, everybody can digest, maybe even bring it back next month when you have all 3?
because it seems like we send a lot of our information to Spicer regardless, correct, Jonathan?
I think they're our engineers, so,
Yes.
yes.
So I don't know how much they can take on of this, but it would be nice to have one cohesive agency doing
Okay.
this. And we don't know, or at least I don't know what they're capable of taking on or handling.
Okay, any objections to tabling this? Okay. Okay. Do you want to make a motion to deviate, and we'll get the folks in the back row back to their lives?
Are you guys all ready? Yeah. Yeah, I'll move to deviate to 8E.
Support.
Motion by Hohenstein, second by Counts. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Taking this, or you're gonna have,
Well, you've read my report. Before we have them present and talk, do you have any questions about the report? About the other items in the packet?
I do have one question, Jonathan, and I looked at it. So it says this particular parcel says it could have 250 homes?
By right,
And it's zoned single-family residential?
yep.
So I looked that up, and it said that the minimum lot size was 1 per acre, but I also remember seeing language if there was
It's 10,000 square feet.
it's
if there's
10,000
sewer and
square
water.
feet, which would give you how many per acre, roughly? 3? A little over 3?
4.
Would it give you 4 on each acre? Okay. I remember seeing that language, I just was unsure where it was, and I wanted to clarify it. Thank you.
Is an acre's what, 43,000 and something square feet?
Something in that range. I know I figured it out before, but it was for a PUD, so.
okay? Any questions of the letter in the packet? Okay. Anybody wanna?
Is that mic on? The mic on?
Well, good evening to everyone. We'll start by introducing ourselves. My name is Eileen Zilch. I am the CEO of a local nonprofit called Community Catalysts. We're located in downtown Howell, and we have done one project here in Howell Township. You'll probably know Bethel Suites, which used to be the Crest Motel. We did the rehab on that and are currently running it. We've done also some projects in the city of Howell, and I'm going to let Megan introduce herself, so if you want to come up.
Hello, I'm Megan Farkas. I'm a representative of DA Building, and we're a local, semi-local. We're more based out of like Livingston County, Brighton area, but a real estate development building group that we do a variety of things from single-family homes. We did a few in the city of Howell, rebuilds, remodels, and then we do single-family subdivisions, multifamily projects, commercial, a wide range of things. So I'll turn it back over to Eileen, and she will explain a little more.
I also want to let you know who else we have in the back row. You guys might know Scott Griffith, who is the listing agent for the property. And then Jim Tischler is with the State Land Bank. And I don't know, Jim made a little bit of a drive to be here. I'm not sure if it was an hour or 2 hours, but we're very grateful that he's here. He is the architect of the Housing TIF program, and is willing to go across the state and come to municipalities and answer any questions that you have on what the heck is a housing TIF and how do you set it up and what does it do for us. And so Jim is here to help us if we have any detailed questions. So I think in your package you have the information on the LOI that we submitted for the property. Did we want to get into that discussion? I'm not sure exactly where y'all want to go with things.
I think it's probably a little important. Yeah, it's kind of
Okay, so the LOI includes an offer, a monetary offer of $1 million, which basically covers the assessment on the property. It also asks for us to be able to use a housing TIF in developing the property. And that's why we brought Jim, in case we get into any detailed questions. Obviously, there's a due diligence period that's included as well. It's not a purchase agreement at this point, it's an LOI. We didn't want to go through all the time and effort to put the purchase agreement together if this is something that the township's not willing to consider. So that's why we went down the path that we went.
okay. Questions, thoughts at this point? Need explanations? Everybody understand what we're looking at?
Why are you looking at me, Mike?
You always have a question, Matt.
I do.
Can you talk about why it is that you are requesting the TIF funding?
Yes.
As part of your project?
So we included 3 documents in your package. The first was a little overview on who we are. The second was kind of a representative analysis. When we did the pre-meetings with Jonathan and the rest of the team, we got into a lot of discussion as to why the TIF was required. So we did some math. For the homes that we would sell, and just at the highest level, we talked about the 10,000 square foot lot size, minimum square footage of the home being 900 square feet. Our goal just with that math would be 250 single family homes. We would do some, and DA Building would do some. The ones that we would do, we're a nonprofit. We sell to people that are making a lower income in our community, and we tried to represent that on kind of the math page. In selling these homes to people that are working in the grocery store, working here at the township, or working for my organization in nonprofit land, and making less than the area median income in both Howell Township as well as Livingston County, we actually have to sell the house for less than we pay for it to be built. And so we need help in order to do that. The housing TIF helps with that, but it also helps Megan's organization, who would do the rest of the homes. So we would do between 10 and 20% of the homes to people who are making less than the area median income. Megan would sell and market and build homes that are going to be larger and sold at market rate. In order for us to be able to sell the smaller, lower priced homes, we need help. Our organization isn't big enough or deep enough to be able to take on a 73-acre parcel. Megan's organization is. So they put all the infrastructure in, they do all the roads, they develop the community, and then we just come in and we're building the homes. They actually would build them for us. But our homes would be the lower priced homes that would need the subsidy, and the market rate homes are what allows us basically to be able to do the work that we do then to sell the lower homes. So it would be a mixed income community, and the math on here says 225 homes would be market rate, 25 would be the lower priced. So what does the housing TIF do? It allows us to put the infrastructure in and be reimbursed for the cost of the infrastructure over the course of time. As that tax revenue comes in, it comes back then to the developer to cover the cost of the infrastructure. Once that gets paid off, then the township into perpetuity receives the tax revenue. At the highest level, that's what a housing TIF is. Does that make sense?
Just to clarify, so the taxable money goes back to the developer for how long is that?
It depends on exactly how many homes are built, exactly how much the infrastructure costs, and there's a couple other variables. But again, we did a representative detailed example that we reviewed with Jonathan and the team. In that example, it was about $7.5 million of infrastructure cost. And again, that's the roads, the sewer, the water, all the utilities, that kind of thing. Over 250 homes, and it came out to be between 20 and 30 years. Now, if we were to use a PUD, go a little more dense, so the lot sizes would be potentially a little bit smaller. If we did more homes, you can get more tax revenue because you have more homes, then the time gets shortened. But again, that would all be part of the site plan approval process. This is more the concept of how do you guys feel about that?
So normally, where would that money go that was collected as tax revenue?
To the township.
So the township would be subsidizing the infrastructure
Correct.
in the tune of $1 million, is that?
No, well, the estimate.
Or whatever it takes for
Or
them to
whatever
put
it
it in.
Exactly.
It
The
depends.
estimate for this size project would, again, it's a high level based on doing about 250 homes. The estimate was about $7.5 million.
7.
But it's only the money from the project. So it's not that the township, they build homes, we tax them just like we do any other home. That tax money comes into the township. We'd have to create a special authority. That money would essentially get sent to the authority as opposed to going to the schools, the fire authority, Howell Area Park and Rec Authority. It would actually go to this other authority that we create and would end up going back to the developer for the eligible expenses.
So we're basically paying to develop it.
Essentially, the people that live there are paying the developer, and the township is delaying the tax revenue that we would normally get from that and disperse. We're delaying that until the developer has been paid.
No, the township is effectively taking tax revenue and paying it back to the developer.
The
It's not the
township-
Right,
people
but it's only for this project. So that's why it's a little different.
Okay, but we're still taking tax revenue that would come to the township to pay for services for the community, and we're sending that back to the developer.
Yes.
More so that the savings that the buyer assumes, because he or she doesn't buy at market value, buys below market value.
Mhm.
Ultimately, your company is made whole in the long run. Is that correct?
More or
By the people who had the savings up front, and they are assessed over time, so there's really no savings for them.
There is a savings for the buyer. They're not paying market rate. And there's a detail that I left out, which I think is important. For the buyer that buys below market, we would either by creating a community land trust or by doing a deed restriction, make sure that those units were affordable into perpetuity, so that the first buyer then doesn't get a windfall when they go to sell. They'd get a percentage of the appreciation on the home. So, and the rest of that equity basically stays with the home, so it stays perpetually affordable. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you're right, some of the deferred tax revenue basically is going to help to keep those homes affordable for the initial buyer and then into perpetuity. But it's also facilitating the development of the project. Right now, there's no tax revenue coming in, and it's been sitting on the market for multiple years, and we want to activate that. We want to take advantage of the fact that the water and sewer are there at the property, and we want to be able to provide some homes that people can afford, as well as some market rate homes.
But you want to delay tax revenue for 20 to 30 years. You want to lock that in?
That would be correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And I also noticed that the property being zoned appropriately for buyer's intended use is a condition. So what other zoning would you be, I heard you mention a PUD.
The only other thing that we might ask for, besides the fact that we'd be doing single-family homes, potentially a little bit more dense, so that would mean some smaller lot sizes where appropriate. And also, and we haven't put our site plan together yet, so we're coming to you with a concept. We have some pictures here. There may be the possibility of doing some townhouse type product. And again, if we would choose to go down that path, we would put that in the PUD.
So you are contemplating a PUD also?
Yes.
How do you feel the development would work out with 25 homes that are below market rate with 225 homes that are at market rate?
We feel really good about that. So the way our organization operates and the philosophy that we have is we very much want people to live in a mixed income type environment. We're not a fan of concentrating all the people of whatever flavor over here and all the people of some other flavor over here. Let everybody live together. So if you're working in the grocery store or you're working for my nonprofit, I want those folks to be able to live with people who work for the auto companies and people who are executives wherever the heck and are making a lot of money. And we're able to work together. Same thing with age. We want young people who are just starting out to be able to get into a home. I have 4 kids, none of whom live in Livingston County because they can't afford to live here. We want to change that. We want our seniors to be able to come into homes that are smaller, that they can age in place. We don't have those kind of homes available at the price point or at the size. Starter homes don't exist. And so again, that's all stuff that we are trying to do. So we feel really good about having the smaller homes in with the larger homes, and it'll be done very tastefully. Everything that we do, if you look at any of our projects, we might not sell at market rate, but we do very, very high quality work.
Do you feel that, so you don't feel that the apartment complexes that have gone up, Union Oak Grove, and there's a couple as well along M59 in that area, that suffices from a affordable housing perspective, right? Because this is an affordable housing project, right?
This would not be an affordable housing project. There would be an affordable element within it, But the way that we're structuring the discussion today, 225 units would be at market rate and 25 units would be affordable. And so it's only 10% of the units. So these are, the difference between this and say the Union at Oak Grove, the Union is rental, these would be for sale units.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think the issue, the concern that I have, the concern that I have is with the project that we did at Union at Oak Grove, we already created an incentive tax condition for the developer to do that project, right? There's delayed taxes, and taxes come in based on what the rental rates are for that particular project. I'm not in favor of delaying appropriate tax revenue for 20 to 30 years. I have concerns with that. I think regardless of the project, I think the project is admirable, but like delaying that for 20 to 30 years, I think is a bit of a stretch.
I mean, one of the things that came up for me is there's a lot of things that Mr. Tischler can talk about from the state of Michigan about what are eligible expenses or eligible, maybe it is expenses that can be part of the TIF. What I was interested in is if the board's interested in moving forward, 'cause I didn't want to waste people's time and effort, but what would we, if we're interested in this, what would we include? What would we say, no, that's too much? She says she needs $2 million to make 25 affordable units. Could that be what the TIF is, right? So it's essentially, they will get $2 million back that allows her to get her 25 affordable units in the project. But does the township need to pay for the roads that, in our experience, developers always pay for? Mm-hmm. And they've still made a profit, yeah. Right? So that's where I was interested in this was, if we can continue, like basically what I was thinking is that if the board's interested, we allow the property committee to continue to meet with them to tailor this down, to try to get it to something that maybe works for both sides. Maybe it doesn't and one party walks away. I don't want to have them spend, tens of thousands of dollars to try to get a site plan drawn up just so we can look at it and say, no, not interested, right? Mm-hmm. That's not fair. Yeah. But maybe there is some amount that they're not happy with, but could make the project work. And there's some amount of money that we are willing to, divert if it's TIF funding or if there's some other way we can do this, but to make their project actually happen.
So my thoughts, one of the most valuable assets this township has is our open space. I think that's a prime piece of property that we're dealing with here. We have infrastructure problems with the roads on Oak Grove. You may or may not be aware of that. I don't think the roads have caught up to the infrastructure. I think this is a premium piece of property. And I don't feel it would be fair to the residents to delay types of taxes or anything that would normally come from a normal development that would go in there. And I would probably be opposed to any type of increase in density. We have a couple of those in the township already. I think Matt has mentioned them. We do have Union of Oak Grove, which to this point, I don't believe we've received any tax revenue from that, correct?
This is the first year that we're getting money from them, yep.
So have we received any as of yet?
We've provided them with the amount they need to pay, and they say they're gonna pay it. We just haven't received the check yet.
Okay. I don't think we're in a situation where and I think the housing project is admirable, I really do, and we really do need affordable housing, but I don't know if we should subsidize that as a township. So that's my thoughts on it.
In looking at your numbers, my math says that the area median income is $91,500. Is that an accurate number?
That's correct.
Do you have some idea of how many people in our area are making this amount of money? I mean, 25 units sounds like a lot when we're talking up here, but if you really think about it, 25 affordable units in the township isn't very much, let alone Livingston County.
That's correct.
How much demand is there for people that are in this 91.5 and below?
There's a huge demand. So of the people that work here in Livingston County, so not people that live, but people that work in Livingston County, 70% of the people that work in Livingston County can't afford to live here. So again, that's another thing that we're trying to change. We're trying to get rid of busing people in from Flint. We would like people who work in our factories to be able to afford housing here, and not just rental housing, but also for sale housing. As I said, my kids, 33 down to 20, none of them can live here because the housing is too expensive. And we know that our senior population is going to increase significantly over the next 10 years. So all the demographics that are in the lower income categories, young people just starting out, 70% of the people that work here in the county that don't live here, seniors who, as they get older, their income goes down, all need housing. And we want to be able to accommodate those folks. So the demand is huge, to answer your question.
I think we should lower taxes for all senior citizens, but, I mean, clearly younger people are gonna qualify for your program as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I've asked this township to try to see what they can do with lowering the taxes for our elderly, and they say we can't, so this is a little confusing to me.
What is it you're confused about?
How you could lower the tax on some houses and not others, you know what I mean?
Not lowering the tax.
It's
Just not taking any at all, and then subsidizing it.
It's
But
for the,
that's different than taking no tax.
Same thing, why don't you subsidize the present older people that live around here?
So you're saying you don't like the fact that it would be a TIF for 25 homes? Is that what you're saying?
It's not what I'm saying, I'm just saying that it, you know, the township, you guys here, you know, I've brought it up in the past, let's try and see what we can do for lowering taxes for the old people, and that Jonathan said there's no way, you know?
So I'm not sure about what that is, but I guess my question is just
I
how
understand,
how does that relate to the topic at hand?
taxing old people, making it easier for old people to live.
So you think you're in favor of the TIF?
I'm in favor of going both ways and letting the other people in the township get their taxes lowered instead of grandma losing her farm.
But we're talking about a potential development
I
opportunity.
understand
with
that,
TIF.
and I'm just
so
putting
you're
that out there as a comparable.
so you're in favor of the TIF for 25 homes?
I'm in favor of lowering it for everybody of older age, but I mean, I'm trying to figure out who would be eligible for this, some older people, some younger people.
I understand that you're in favor of lowering taxes across the board, but I think the question at hand is, the thing that I'm confused about what you're saying is we're talking about a potential development. What is your opinion on the potential development?
I'm not gonna state that yet. I'm stating that
Okay.
it seems funny that we can lower the taxes for old people in this situation, but we can't at a township level.
I want to try to explain this a little better then. So this doesn't lower the taxes for the people that live in there. They would get a tax bill just like everyone else, and it's based on the value of their property. So that's what our assessor would do. He assesses that property, and it kicks out a value that says, okay, now your tax bill is X. Their tax bill is still X. The taxes still get paid to the township.
But
The
on a
township
house, based on devaluing a house, and then you tax it.
No, it's not being devalued. The money then, when it comes to the township, as opposed to me as treasurer sending the school a check for their portion of that tax bill, because remember on your tax bill, there's all those millages on there, right? So that's who we send the money to. So instead of sending it to those entities that are on the tax bill, we send it to this authority that we create that then deems whether it goes back to, they're gonna look at the books to say, is this still part of what they owe? Or is there still money that is owing? And then they get the check back to the developer for putting the eligible things in. So in this case, in the example, it was roads, it was sewer, it was water, utilities, right? So the taxes are no different on the properties that are in there. The question is, what happens to that money? Does it go to the schools and to the fire authority, or does it go back to the developer until they've been paid for whatever those eligible expenses are? So that's a lot different than saying that we're gonna lower their taxes, because their taxes aren't gonna be any different. Brent is still going to assess them based on the value of their home. Now, if we're making a home that is the minimum house size, their tax bill is gonna be smaller than if they're putting a very large house on the parcel right next door. Very different tax bills based on value.
So, just to be clear, no one's lowering taxes at all. It's the same tax.
If you're lowering taxes, you need to go talk to the state.
Yeah, okay, just want to be clear.
Right.
No one at the township board is lowering taxes. It's really just where the tax money is going,
And it's just for the period of time. So if it's, maybe
which could be 20 to 30
maybe
years.
it is 30
Could be
years.
$7 million.
Maybe it's less. Maybe it's less.
Correct.
Let's say it was 10 years. So after those 10 years, they've been paid back what they're due, what we've agreed to, and then the homeowners in there still are getting their tax bills, and they still have to pay it. Everything's the same, except now those checks go to the schools, the fire authority, to the Howell Park and Rec Authority, right? As soon as whatever agreed upon amount has been paid back.
So we're not talking about
It's not-
lowering
well, but
taxes. What's your
It's
opinion on the
going
TIF
somewhere
then?
else. Move on, Matt.
I'm just.
Bob, this is
asking
part
a
of the board
question.
discussion. If
I
we don't,
understand that.
if we don't understand
I'm-
whether you're for it or against it, then we have no way to know.
What's it matter if I'm for it or against it? You'll find out when I vote. Right?
Just voting isn't the time to express your opinion. The time is
Oh.
during the deliberation, so that we can try to understand what your vote is, right, leading up to it. Surprising us with your vote doesn't really do anything.
I have
Well, I
an
mean,
opinion, if I may.
Yeah, Mr. Fagan, go ahead.
Bring this to a stop for a moment. You've stated an obvious problem, affordable housing. I think we could all agree there needs to be affordable housing. Can the township solve that problem? And does these 25 units solve that problem? I don't think either. Neither is it our place to solve that problem in this fashion, nor do I think the 25 units can pave that road to solving the problem, unless this starts a trend, and now all of a sudden we have more and more developers coming in saying, hey, we've got this TIF deal here, and we can defer your taxes for a set amount of time. And I don't think that's a good position for the township to be in. So that would be my opinion. And I'm sorry, because it probably doesn't come easy to you. So excuse me.
He's itching to say something.
Do you want to come up, Jim? Sure. It's right at my height. I like that. Very good. Good evening, honorable trustees. My name's Jim Tischler. I am the Development Director of the State Land Bank Authority in Lansing. You might not be familiar with land banks. Livingston County does not have one. We are your land bank. But land banks are public sector real estate entities. They were created by legislative act 20 years ago, and to the present day, there are about 2/3 of the counties in Michigan have land banks. We operate across the state with many properties that we dispose and redevelop and develop, and we work in all counties, but we especially work in counties which don't have land banks. That's how I got involved talking to your committee, and also with the parties making the request in front of you, because we've been active working with DA Building and another project, and they asked me to come in and talk to the committee at the meeting a month ago or so, where I came and had conversation. So what I do at the land bank is I'm in charge of the development operations. We have more than 2,000 properties across the state. We assembled teams, both of interagency, cross-agency personnel, and private developers, and we do development and redevelopment across the board. Excuse me, we've been involved in reclaiming gravel pits in Oakland County, Commerce Township. That's a new housing development. Kind of give you some recent nearby projects that we've been involved with. We're more active up in the Lansing area there as well, and we've been working with the city of Brighton and on a project in their downtown. The point that I'm getting at is that we are really active, and I am going across the state and doing projects. So
I'm not going to tell you you should support or not support this project tonight. What I'm going to tell you is I think you should become more informed. Because what I've heard tonight is you trying to rationalize and understand based on what you've heard or what you're thinking and what your experience has been, but there's more information that could help you make a determination whether it's good or it's bad, okay? Or whether this project's good or bad, I should say. All right, so, for example, in terms of trends, Trustee Fagan, if I were to tell you that there are now more than 50 TIF projects going statewide, that might be news to you, and you might want to know what those are about. Sure. I just literally, last week, was at a groundbreaking in East Bay Township, Grand Traverse County, 350 homes using this tool, this new tool, which was created 2 years ago, largely because my agency made recommendation internally to take an existing tool. You might be familiar with brownfield redevelopment. You've probably read about redevelopment projects using TIF. The legislature passed a bill, and the governor signed into law, an extension of that law to cover housing and cover housing subsidy. Okay, housing subsidy for who? Well, it's households that make up to 120% of the area median income. So what does that mean in your county? You heard the number from Eileen that $91,000 is the median income for Livingston County. And while Q&A was going here, I asked Scott Griffith, and he looked up, and you may or may not know that the average income for a public service employee, a fireman, a sheriff's department is $55,000. What does that mean? They can't afford to live in your county, but you need them, and so does all the other townships and the cities in the county. So over the recent years, there has been this differentiation and better understanding of affordability. When most people think about affordable housing, they tend to think about the federal program subsidies for housing, which is what you were talking about, Trustee Counts, which is using low-income housing tax credits or other tools. Those are designed for households that make 80% of the area median income or less, right? But this tool that came together is primarily designed to support attainable housing, meaning between 80 and 120%. The people I was just describing, the policemen, the firemen, the teachers, the people that are your service people that you rely upon in this township and all across Livingston County to provide that service. And if they can't live in your county, by the way, you might know one or more of those people. They might be family members. If they can't live in your community, then they're going to have to either drive long distances, or they're going to choose another place to live, which impacts your growth. Okay? Now, one other quick point I'll make in terms of infrastructure, because I heard Trustee Bull, you mentioning you have needs to finance infrastructure. Where is that money going to come from? Ma'am, that's a more rhetorical question.
For the roads?
Right. So what I explained to the committee was, and again, this is not a you should approve or not approve this project, but become more informed. If you realize this tool can be used to take a development project and have it help pay for an infrastructure project that you need as the township. You need to improve that intersection wherever it may be, okay? And if there's a residential project that's next to the intersection that's being proposed, you might be able to use a tool like this to help you pay for that intersection, okay? Which you wouldn't have otherwise had the money to do. And ultimately, what I want to propose is this. I am willing to come and sit with you in work session, as many work sessions as you need, to help you understand this tool and the approach for mixed income development. Oh, one other quick point. I've been a planner and an economic developer for my entire 40-year career. When designed right, I will show you pictures of projects where you have high-level executive home, community land trust home, executive home. There's no difference. They look size-wise, but the design, it comes down to the design. If they're designed well as a good neighborhood like you all want to have, you can't tell the difference. What I'm proposing is that you consider not a decision tonight, because in my opinion, I don't think you have enough information. I would encourage you to spend time, and I'm willing to give you that time to help you better understand, and then you can make a decision. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
Okay, so with all of that, is there, I mean, I've heard a couple people speak up, and I guess gauging on their response, it didn't sound real positive. I think the thing that Jonathan brought up that piqued my interest is the 25 homes getting the credit rather than the entire development. That kind of changes my thought a little bit. We're not paying for the entire development to go in, but those 25 homes portion of it. So if that number went a little higher, I would even be, because that's going to solve more issues if we can get to that point. Now, you guys probably have some magical number that you got to do the right number of homes to be able to do that. But the other thing you bring up is the senior housing, and I pushed for 20 years for zero entry small homes, and it's not for the people that can't afford it, it's the people that want to sell their large home to go into something that is more useful for them. So to get that blended community, I think having that person that came from their big farm and is living in a smaller home, I've been waiting for you. But so that's my feeling is I think there's a pathway, but I think it's a very, very narrow pathway I couldn't get behind all 250 homes for all of the infrastructure. The 25, I could have interest in that. So that's my opinion. Yes. Sue, do you have any?
I think we should table it so people get more information.
Okay. Mr. Bull? Anything to add?
Look at the discrepancy in the numbers too, that the 225, or we're only talking 33 homes that are attainable or affordable, however you want to call it, and the rest of them would just be standard development, correct?
Okay. Mr. Counts?
I think I voiced my opinion.
Okay. Mr. Wilson?
I've already voiced mine.
Jonathan?
I would like the committee to try to keep working if the board's interested in it. I think there's some opposition, but I don't know if there's a spot where we could, meet somewhere in the middle or get something closer to what the board is looking for. That's my desire.
Do you feel you have enough information for the committee to be able to keep moving forward?
If that's the path forward, I would say no.
Okay.
I would like to have more time to gather more information, look at some of the other TIF projects around the state. So I would agree with Sue on that. I would like to table this to obtain more information.
Okay. If we're going to table it, I'd like to kind of give a homework assignment of what we're going to be looking at later. Where are the sticking points? So the committee would have something to move forward on. So that would be my only request for if we're going to table it, to be able to give enough information for the committee to continue to move forward. Okay. Any other thoughts? Is there a motion to table this till next month?
I'll make that motion to table it until next month.
Support.
Motion by Doss, second by Fagan. Discussion?
Can we have the information, if it's received by the township, provided to us when they get it instead of 3 days before a board meeting?
Well, in this case, you guys are going out to look at stuff. It's not us providing.
You're bringing the information back, so.
Well, I mean, if the township gets some, can it be shared? I mean, I'm sure you'll come up with more. They'll provide you with more.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so where are we? New business A?
Yes.
Okay. NSC zoning district text amendment.
So the Planning Commission has been working on updating the NSC zoning district to have more uses in there. We actually had 2 requests at the same meeting, specifically one for HVAC and one for landscaping. So after the planning commission discussed it, they did vote to include other uses that aren't just HVAC and landscaping, but they are part of that. I mean, most of the, requirements are pretty standard, nothing outrageous in my opinion. Yeah, and I would just say that from feedback we've had from the business community, it's kind of much needed and overdue, so.
Okay, questions, thoughts?
It was overdue, Jonathan, if I remember correctly. Sorry, Mike, not really a question, more just clarification. It's been overdue because most of these are really, today, they're only really viable in regional services, commercial, is that correct?
Right, the NSC district didn't allow these, I'll call them contractors, they don't all have to be contractors, but that's kind of what we're gearing it towards. Yeah, and there wasn't a lot of RSC land, there was a fair amount of NSC property. Getting stuff rezoned is expensive, it takes time. We've had a fair number of contractors looking at property, we've had a fair number, that walk away from our community because going through that process is just too cumbersome, so.
And Tim, this was discussed at the planning commission?
Yes, this actually makes it a lot easier for contractors and businesses.
It does. Was there any discussion about, you talk about, I don't know, about plumbing and HVAC and stuff, certainly landscaping. Was there any discussion about any potential detriments to other neighborhood services, commercial uses by allowing this in NSC?
There would always be the traffic issue if you're talking, so we have discussed some of those. And I think those would be addressed through the site plan itself when it comes up. So there is some guidelines in here about, storage being inside or being covered in the back. And so I think it was geared more towards your smaller type contract.
And most of our NSC is along Grand River, along 59. There is the parcel down on Mason Road, close to the city line. But most of it is on pretty well paved areas anyway.
Yeah, my concern wasn't there, Jonathan. It was more in the context of what would traditionally be NSC, and having right next to it a contractor that's more potentially regional or industrial, right? That was the question of whether or not did it potentially overburden the use, right? It doesn't sound like that's the case, and that's fine.
So they're so similar, and what I understand what you're saying, because it was just specifically those were excluded. So I understand what you're saying, and we appreciate that. And I don't see it with what we had.
Okay, that's fine. So that makes sense. I'm good.
Okay, any other questions?
So ultimately, we're expanding the use of the land, allowing landscaping yard to be within the NSC district.
Yeah, we're allowing more things in that zoning district, yes.
Always for it. Anything goes, right?
Gates wide open.
Yeah, perfect.
All right,
Seems appropriate.
Move to accept the changes to the NSC zoning district ordinance number 293 as presented.
Support, Bull.
motion by Hohenstein, seconded by Bowl. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Ooh,
You need a resolution? You need it? Oh, yeah, we do, yeas and nays. I'm sorry, I
That's
apologize.
a text amendment, right?
Roll call, yep.
Bull,
Yes.
Hagan,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Hohenstein,
yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Counts,
Yes.
Paddington.
Yes. See, I was right anyhow.
I hate to ask, but did we do a roll call for the other one?
Yes,
Which one?
we did.
Did we? No.
No, we did not? You sure?
For.
That was
oh,
split.
For the
sorry,
ADU?
Yeah, ADU,
Okay.
yes, I'm sorry, I apologize.
I'll sit over here?
All right, move on to cemetery, cemetery proposal.
We're looking for approval for the software for the cemetery. We've never had one. We've been done on spreadsheets or in books, and it's usually hard for somebody coming in to take care of that. So the proposals for, actually the bill would be almost $6,000 to get it started and implemented, and $1,000 a year for the maintenance and fees. Where we had first came in with around 10,000, I believe, was the estimated amount they were gonna charge us. But I asked to do most of the input, so they're gonna do the mapping and the overlay, and I'm gonna do most of the input.
The input is in names to
Names
plots.
and plats, and, yeah, they'll put the plats all in, and then I'll finish it out
They'll
with,
assign
I'll put the,
who owns what.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
And Osceola just went with this program. They were on BSNA. They really like it, and the people are very helpful. So she said they don't have any problem getting help if they need it.
Have you checked out their stuff? Because it says you get, and I don't know if it's through our website or you have to go through a different website.
For what? To put it on cloud?
Well, it said something about it's available online, like
Yes.
information. Have you poked
Yes.
around on Osceola's online?
I've looked at, no, I haven't gone on theirs yet. She hasn't got hers all set up.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
So I had some questions on this too, because I went out to both cemeteries today. Actually, I made a visit. And reading through their stuff, do they actually make a visit to the cemetery to plot the locations?
No. We send them our maps, which they already have. They also do the Google Maps.
Mhm.
And he showed me, he had overlaid it on there, which looks exactly like our plat map that I have.
Okay. So I know they've got all kinds of disclaimers about here, and the county has a problem with their GIS system where it's not.
Not perfect.
So I don't
no.
know how important this is for your job, I mean, or.
Well, when he lays it on there,
Okay,
he shows me, and he showed me how he put it on. I said, that's almost identical to what it needs to be. And they can move it and tweak it one way or the other.
okay.
Your concern is what?
The accuracy, and I understand that it's not gonna be, well, it could be, right? If it was GPS, it could be very accurate.
But the concern with accuracy, I mean, the
You're
sexton
still-
isn't digging with using this map, right?
No.
So is
So-
this just to,
This is basically, if you wanted to go out there and find somebody,
okay,
you can look at this map, you can see right where that person is. You can see who's next to that person. Count how many over from the road he is, and that's where they're at.
it's a directory, so to speak.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yes.
Phone book.
Yep.
Is this also what people
Directories.
use to, you're looking to buy a plot? And
Yep,
so then I
and you can see
here's-
what one's
here's your
vacant.
openings are, then I
Yep.
can go out and visit them and see
If that's where you wanna be.
okay.
and roughly, how many burials do we have a year?
I'd say we've had the most, maybe 5 a year.
5?
Wow.
Not a lot. City had lots.
So I mean, just looking at it, it reminds me of, you get the introductory fee and then they charge you $1,000 every year, but so, I mean, what do you get for that $1,000?
They do the maintenance on the website and the cloud and stuff.
Okay.
It says here that the management package includes hosting of your digital map and public website, so it won't be on our website, it'll be on their website.
Their website, Semdi.
Full access to record management document tools, support Bangalore front coast, 3 users, 2000.
Concern?
No, I mean, I think $1,000 per year from a technology perspective is not a lot. I think my question is updates and things like that. It says 3 hours per year of service work like map edits. So they're only gonna update the map 3 times a year? Like, or for 3 hours a year?
Well, the map's not gonna change, and especially if Sue's putting in the data, the map is always gonna be the same.
Not if there's a burial.
Well, yeah, because I would still put that person in that
I think
grave.
the plot will exist. I think an edit would be that you go out there and discover something's wrong, then maybe the map has to be edited in terms of how it's laid out.
As long as that's the case. As long as that's the case. I don't want us, that makes sense to me. I wouldn't want us to be limited to X number of, like, you know,
15 burials showing up in
Yeah,
5 years, yeah.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
no.
Thank you,
Yeah.
yeah.
What is our capacity out there? How long could we utilize these cemeteries?
Well, I'm gonna say Fleming Road is full.
Fleming Road's full.
We're not gonna, we would never bury in there now. I mean, if you go to some of these conferences, they say you can, if you make scatter gardens or whatever. But as far as to dig in there, you don't really know where that one is all laid out, because that is so old. I don't
Okay.
know if you've been out there.
I have,
Um,
it's been a little while.
Yeah,
It's-
so, I mean, if you wanna do scatter gardens or something like that, you could, but anything else in there, no. And then scatter gardens, you might put a name somewheres that they're there, but it's ashes,
Sure.
you know,
sure.
but, out at Pioneer, the whole center there is still empty. It's all been platted, but nothing's been sold there yet.
So how many plots would you estimate that to be?
If I remember right, it's somewhere around 50 or maybe more.
Well, isn't the north side of that, you have that center plot
You
area?
have the center and then
The north side of that is
Side.
also,
down further, yeah, there's a
Yeah.
road down further
Right.
of
Yeah.
that.
I think you're right, Shane. I think this is more of a directory than anything else.
Yeah, and
Right.
the other thing I'm just concerned with, in 50 at 5 a year, I mean, there's gonna be some changes for many years to come, so that makes sense, but as far as Fleming Road, what's there is there. I mean, once it's documented, there's not gonna be a need to service it in the future, really, but, so is that, the 50 plots that we do have available, is that worth the $1,000 a year from now till?
Well, if something happened right now, if this hall was to burn
Everything's all
down,
on you,
everything
right,
is
in
gone.
paper.
It's all gone, yeah, there's nothing.
I understand.
You know, where if you put it out on software out there in the cloud, it's gonna be there.
Right,
But as of right now, it would all be lost.
I understand.
And I didn't catch, do we own the data, or is it their data? So once we quit paying the software maintenance agreement, does that,
I think they
it
just.
should be ours?
yeah,
We
I
should be
think
able
they
to
would just-
download a regular,
Whatever contracts.
Right.
Yeah.
Contracts we have, the data is all.
that would be my only
Because
concern
once
before we
it's- Right,
sign off, to make
Okay.
sure that X amount, at least once a year, we get a data dump of the information you put in. Make sure it's exportable.
well, it's always out there, anybody can go and look at it, and
I think,
family members or whatever,
I think
I
the
mean,
question is, if you
Yeah.
stop paying, is the data still out there?
well, you stop paying, is the data still out there, or in 5 years, does the price go from $1,000 a year to $1,500 a year? Right, the biggest thing with cloud operations management is you're now renting your space,
Mhm.
right? And that's it. So,
So then you gotta input all this again if you switch companies.
well, yeah, I mean,
not necessarily, some of them will,
Yeah.
can download or
yeah, in
compatible.
reality, if we're concerned about data loss, this isn't a way to solve data loss. Data loss is a bonus with this plan. It's not the reason to do this plan.
No, but it's,
Right.
people can see where people are. You can go out there and
That's the
look.
reason to do
You
this.
can
Our
find
data is
out
in
what
paper
graves
books
are.
though, so it's not in a computer, it's not data yet, it's.
Sure, but
Scratches.
we could digitize it and put
True.
it on a cloud drive somewhere, on a shared drive somewhere,
Yeah.
right? This is a
better format.
yeah.
But you'll be doing all the inputting, right? So, I mean,
Mhm.
most of it? Okay.
Yeah, that was my goal, and I had told them that, and that's when they came back with the lower price.
Are they paying you?
So it's your pleasure.
I should switch to them, right?
So, real quick, Matt, you wouldn't suggest that the township go about, doing this on their own? It would be better to hire this out?
I mean, no, I think this is reasonable for what the services are, and it makes sense to me.
And then just back to the one other point you had, does the information do we lose that information, or do they jack up the price in some years? Do we need some clarity on those
Well,
points?
there's gonna be a contract that comes out of this proposal, and in that contract, we need to say, we are the owner of the data, period.
Okay.
I
Agreed.
mean, that's how you protect yourself from that perspective, right? I mean, we could certainly build it ourselves. Someone has to understand how to create a digital cemetery map and
Sure.
set up a template and all that sort of stuff, right? I mean, it's sort of like your business, right?
You're not gonna do it in $5,000.
Correct. I can weld, but I can't nearly weld as well as you can, Shane. So, I mean,
Okay, so what's your pleasure on this?
Move to accept the agreement with Semify to digitize the township cemetery records as presented.
Support.
Motion by Hohenstein, seconded by Doss. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. EMS polling place lease agreement.
Did everybody read the emails that came with this?
Yes.
Because we had quite a bit of problems in the parking lot, and that's why the EMS decided to give us till the 2028, and we have to be out. And if things don't change in the parking lot, we could be out before that. So we now have to find a new place to have the polling places because we can't fit in the township hall. And it's basically the circus act in the parking lot that they don't want us there. People putting T-posts in the ground with big signs and then not taking them down, not aware of where sprinkler systems are. That is now going to be in their contract also. If sprinkler systems are damaged, the township will pay for them.
So have you come up with a plan to make sure we don't get kicked out prior to, if we agree to this, which I assume we will, have you come up with a plan to make sure we don't get kicked out
I think
before
everybody running for
2028?
office at this township should be liable for what they do in that parking lot and also police the other people out there. I mean, you can't be stopping the people working at the EMS building from going into their job or the ambulances coming out. They need to go get their stuff done. And that was part of the problem is people were blocking those entrances and they couldn't get in and out. So we just have to take more care on what's going on in that parking lot. I mean, we're all board members here and I can't be there all the time and Tanya can't be out in that parking lot.
So respectfully, we weren't the only ones running for
No.
office, nor were the board members pounding in T-posts up there.
No, it
that
wasn't
I
the
know
board
of.
member.
I didn't hear her say that.
Huh?
I didn't hear
say
her
a
say
board
that.
member.
Just, well,
But
there
that
was-
person actually
The
called
board
the-
members were present in the parking lot, and that's what she's saying, is that we as board members would need to take that on to whoever the other elected people are, or their workers are doing something like that. We need to be proactive to say, you guys stop it, you're gonna get us kicked out of here, and we're not gonna have a polling place.
So you want board members to act as a township official to police the polling stations?
There's no reason they couldn't help out.
There's no liability to township board
You know,
members
all those, everybody
policing
out there running
the
for
polling
office.
station?
To what?
To
Police them?
police the
He
polling
doesn't want to get in
station?
trouble for policing the polling station. Would it be wise to to contract with a sheriff deputy to be on site during?
They will
every
not do
election?
it.
They won't do it?
They already have so many people out and about, and they send out a lot of plain units, plain clothes, plain
So they're kind of
vehicles.
maxed out on that.
They are scouring the entire county all day long. They will not contract. Now, that doesn't mean that you couldn't find some election workers, and that is their job for the day, is to
Stand in the parking lot.
be in the parking lot and police the parking lot that way.
Can you set up an area where people can do this? I know there's the 100-foot rule, they can't do it,
Right.
right? But can you set up an area to say, hey, if you're gonna be doing this, we want you to do it over here? right? So that you're not blocking the entrance, you're not
Well, I
keeping
think
the
they did have
ambulances from coming
cones
in and out.
set up for the ambulances.
last
if
one they
if
did,
I've
yeah.
heard, right? And they were still blocked, not by our people, but by other people out there, that were stopping the ambulances. So, I mean, it's just a lot of care that needs to be taken care of. I mean, we've already been kicked out, basically. You gotta, I mean, we have to hopefully stay there until the 28th.
No, that would be my suggestion, is just to add, you know, I know it's more workers and they're hard to come by.
Well, unfortunately, they're mostly older people that are.
Right.
I mean, we don't have very many young people to go out there.
It'd only take
you
one or
know,
two, I would think.
If you can find them.
Yeah. But, just a thought. But again, if we're out there, we need to be making the other people conscious of it. Okay, any other questions or thoughts?
I mean, for me, this makes what we were talking about earlier, if it's a community center, it's a community center, but we need to kind of put this top of mind, whatever it is, so that we know where our polling place is gonna be.
Yep. Any other thoughts?
What, is it Handy Township that has a building just for a polling place? Is
Yep.
that
Right.
right? That's in Fowlerville?
Yep.
Right outside of town there.
Yep.
I'll just leave it at that. It sounds like we have a direction that's probably the most feasible one.
That polling place is what I'm trying to avoid, is to have a building that sits empty for 2 years for no purpose other than having an election. I'd much rather have it being used for the community, for, you know, the recreation authority can go in there and whatever we put inside it and make it work.
I mean, the same as Osceola, they use their recreation center, and then they know that those days that's blacked out, and that they set up for elections in there.
Okay.
I don't want to pick on EMS. I certainly understand what they do, but there was an election that day and they set up a training at the entrance of a polling facility. They had a lot of parking lot, and it would be the same if Parks and Rec scheduled some sporting events during a polling day and said, well, you
But
guys'
since-
polling got in our way, so.
Osceola paid for that center, and they have the control of it,
Right.
so they can use it during election day.
Understand.
Okay. Is there any motion to accept the amendment?
Move to accept the amendment to the polling place lease agreement with Livingston County, extending it through November of 2028 as presented.
Support.
Motion by Hohenstein, second by Doss. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Wrangler Saloon REU reduction request.
So our sewer ordinance allows entities to request a reduction in their REUs, and so that is what Wranglers is doing for their new building that they're proposing. They have provided their information and their backup for what their conclusion is, and our engineer reviewed that information, found it to be reasonable. The caveat that is part of our ordinance is that all REUs can be reviewed. Generally, this is for commercial entities, not residentials, because an REU is what a house uses. So for those commercial entities, we are always able to perform a sewer audit, and if it's discovered that they're using more than they've paid for, the township has the ability to go and get payment for that additional usage in terms of purchasing REUs and that sort of thing. So the engineer always adds the caveat that as long as we remember this, that this provision exists to their opinion. But otherwise, they were okay with the request to reduce their REUs.
Okay. Questions, concerns?
Sounds like a good idea. That corner, that corner needs to be improved.
You don't like it?
No, I think it's actually a very fair process. And the fact that it's gonna be monitored afterwards to actually see, get a better idea exactly what is, it's a good starting place.
Okay. Any other thoughts or questions? What's your pleasure?
I will make the motion to accept Wrangler's REU reduction from 29 REUs to 18 REUs, with the understanding that the township reserves the right to reevaluate and adjust REUs based on factual findings in the future.
Support.
Motion by Hohenstein, second by Doss. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Park Master Plan proposal.
So in discussing all of this for the possible community center, it is one of the things you want to make sure that you're, as Mike pointed out, you're not putting a baseball field where there's a sewer cap right in the middle of it, or putting parking where if you just would have moved it a little bit, could have fit a soccer field. So the idea is to work with one of these two groups to lay out how things would be. How big is a soccer field? Lay it out on the geographical map, and how many soccer fields can you get in an area? If you do decide to put parking or so many soccer fields, how much parking should you allot for? Making sure that the walking path doesn't cut through an area that could be a soccer field, a baseball field. So it is working on that plan so that in the future, should the board decide, you know what, we're ready for that baseball field, you know where it's gonna go.
So are we picking one of these two right tonight? Is that what the purpose of this is?
Yep.
Do we have any examples of their prior work?
Carlisle and Wortman is the one that did our Park and Recreation Master Plan. And they've worked with other communities around us. I know, I wish Martha from our Park and Rec Authority committee would have been here. She knows of the other work that they've done. She really likes Chris Nordstrom from Carlisle Wortman and the work he's done in the past for us and for other communities. We don't have a lot of experience with Spicer's planning department. We use Spicer as our engineer. This is a different department. We did use Spicer, I'm going to say it was 2 years ago, to go after a Spark grant to see about getting money from the state to put in the walking trail. That was the first time we'd worked with their planning department.
So if Carlisle and Wortman did the plan, would it go to Spicer also? Somewhere during the planning stage?
Not necessarily during the planning stage.
But it would end up with them during the implementation, maybe the implementation.
Implementation,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that word, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably for engineering, right?
For engineering, I mean, they're gonna be the ones that are reviewing, all of our stuff in terms of if you're ready to put that parking lot in, they're gonna be the ones telling you how thick it needs to be, what the mix is. They're gonna be the ones checking it, so, yeah.
So going back to my other statement about cooks in the kitchen, if they did the planning, would it be better for them to actually do the review of the engineering too? But like you, I don't know where other communities they've worked in or what they've done and what they're capable of doing in their planning.
I don't think one way or the other it's actually gonna matter whether the planning department inside Spicer did the planning. They're still gonna be our engineer unless that contract changes. So if Carlisle Wortman did it, the same is true. I mean, they're still our engineer.
So I see an hourly rate from Spicer's of $10,000. And then on Carlisle's, it's a 14,000, let's see here, what did I see theirs? Not to exceed 14,000?
So I think the difference is that Carlisle is saying it will not go above 14,000.
Right.
Whereas Spicer is saying we think it's gonna cost 10, but if it goes over, here are the hourly rates.
It's 10,000 an hour.
It's not 10,000 an hour, they're saying they think it's going to be 10,000, but then if you breach that, then it's gonna be at their normal hourly rate. But they're gonna also charge us at their normal hourly rate along the process. So it might be less than 10,000, because we're just gonna be paying their hourly rate for the time we use. Whereas the way I read Carlisle Wortman is that, essentially for $14,000, we're getting it all done.
Right, that's how I read it.
Yeah.
Tim, you've worked with Carlisle extensively in the planning commission, and it looks like Paul Montango will manage this project. You've had a lot of table time with him here. What's feel comfortable using Carlisle work?
So lately we've had the guy in training, I think,
Garrett, or
we haven't been dealing with Paul. The experience I've had with Paul, though, is he's very knowledgeable.
yeah.
He's very, very thorough. But it doesn't mean that Spicer isn't either, so. Just Jonathan, maybe at what point does this 10,000 or 14,000, whichever one it happens to be, at what point that just gives us a plan? Does it give us, we talked a little bit about this earlier, does it give us where the building goes, or the footprint for the building?
So they're not gonna tell you what the footprint of the building is.
Okay.
So that's one issue we have. But they will tell you, like through this process, when you're done, essentially you'll have a map that shows you what the thing, when it's totally done, phase 1 through 100, this is what your park will look like. Right.
And then the architect comes in and designs your building.
As long as we would need some understanding of how large the building is.
And we have that. If we're gonna duplicate similar to Osceola, we already have that square footage.
Right.
So it's a matter,
Just
you know,
reserving that spot.
our preliminary talk is we probably would not do 2-story like Osceola did. We would go to a single story. We might match the square footage, but we'd be a little wider, longer. But that's the type of stuff we can work around, and any one of these guys would be able to tell you how big that building is. So I'm not concerned there.
And I only put this out there not for confusion, just as kind of a note, when we were discussing possible future township halls on this site, that's not what we're talking about anymore, but we had worked with Spicer, and they put the township hall that's, I think it was double or triple this size and triple the parking, and they showed us on a map what that looks like, and that those parcels are so big, it looked ridiculously small. And so in the end, the overall size of the building might not make that much of a difference. You're not gonna wanna make your walking path real close to where you think the building is.
Right.
But otherwise, like, it was kinda crazy how, when you kind of stepped away from it, it's like, oh man, I thought it was gonna take a lot more room than that,
And it won't.
and it doesn't.
It's an 80-acre parcel.
2 80-acre parcels.
2 80-acre
Yeah.
parcels.
Okay, preference?
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal by Carlisle Wortman and Associates to prepare a park master plan.
Support.
Motion by Hohenstein, second by Fagan. I'm sorry, Counts
Yep.
and Fagan. It's getting late. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Call to the public. Yes.
Hi, I don't normally speak at these things, but my name is Tess Ware. I'm a reporter with the Livingston Daily. Not here speaking as a reporter, but as someone who works in the community. I just wanted to make a comment about the affordable housing project. I would love to live here. I work here. I worked here for 3 years. I love the community, but I live in Oakland County. I pay $1,200 a month for an apartment, and I just can't afford to buy a home. But with apartments, I don't know how many of you have recent rental experience, but apartments raise your rent every year, which means that even if I wanted to stay in my apartment in 2 years, I can't, because I just won't be able to afford it. In the last 5 years, I've lived in 4 different apartments, partially because I've moved cities, but I just recently moved in March because my apartment that I've been in for 2 years just wasn't affordable anymore, and I couldn't stay there. It's very, very difficult to establish a life when you are constantly moving every 2 to 3 years. I'm engaged, my partner and I want to start a family, but we can't do that in a 1-bedroom apartment. So I would love to live in this community. I would very much encourage you, when you are doing the research on TIFs and this project, to speak with local business owners about what it would mean for their employees to be able to live in this community. You know, speak with some local people who do rent and ask them what it would mean for them to have the opportunity to buy a house. To Mr. Fagan's point about 25 houses not solving the issue, true, but nothing will solve the issue. One project doesn't do that. It's something that is chipped away at with multiple projects over time. But those 25 houses make a very big difference to the people who want to live in this community. And also the next generation of parents who want to raise kids here. You know, eventually the parents of the students here are gonna age out, and there won't be a new generation of parents to replace them or populate the schools. So yes, you would be losing out on 20 to 30 years of property taxes, but it's an empty property now. So in 20 to 30 years, you'll be getting taxes, and you'll be getting taxes from all the other houses that aren't subsidized. So I see it as a very long-term investment in your community and the people who want to live here but can't. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. On to reports, I got nothing other than what we've covered. So you have questions? Treasurer?
We did complete the changeover to our new credit card processing system. It's going okay so far. And then I have been notified recently that Comcast did get internet rerun up Brewer Road. Comcast has always claimed that they had service on Brewer, but they went in and did the project, and so now people actually have access to internet on Brewer.
It was installed at my house today.
For Comcast?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions of the treasurer? Clerk?
Got nothing.
Okay. Any questions of the clerk? Zoning?
I got a question for zoning. Jump into the code enforcement report. Actually, it's really not even in there. I've been contacted about this Bain Road situation, and I believe it's no longer on the code enforcement report. And I believe, Tim, you as well had spoke to the complainee over there at Bain Road at one time or another. From everything I've seen, it appears that there's a construction business of sort going on there, but yet there has been nothing done about that. Can you explain that to the board and to the community, I guess?
Camper's also in the front yard as of today.
So as long as you're allowed to have an at-home occupation, so as long as you are within the provisions of the ordinance with your at-home occupation, then you're within the ordinance. The township doesn't take issue with it.
Okay. So it's certainly the township's belief or your belief that there has been no violation at Bain Road?
Well, there was, but the owner was working with us, and
it's been resolved.
The township believes that it's been resolved.
Okay, thank you. There was another code enforcement I noticed in previous meetings that is now gone. That was one that had been on the books since maybe 2023. There was a mention of the owner being imprisoned or something of that nature. Is that been since resolved?
It's still on there.
Should still be on there.
Yeah,
If
it's
it didn't
very
get on
last
there
one and
before.
2 pages.
Yeah, it's still on there. We are going to the court this week on that one.
Okay. That's all the questions I had for
Okay.
zoning, thank you.
Anyone else? Assessing, you have a report. Fire authority, we re-elected officers. Engine 22 is still an issue. We have a meeting tomorrow night. Hopefully we'll know for sure that that's back in service. Station 22 bids, the expansion, they're opening them tomorrow at 1 o'clock. That's it for fire authority, unless you have questions. MHOG.
The last meeting was mid-June, so this is dated, but this is the update back then, right? County Farm Road installed for the transmission main as well as Tamarack Place. Those are directional drills, so open cut is starting. Grant reimbursement is processing. So all that is going really well from a transmission main perspective, and that's gonna really benefit the MHOG system. So it's good that that's moving along and going well. The other big thing is they did do a PFAS sampling of MHOG water. There is no detect of PFAS, so really good news. We only produced 54 million gallons of water, slight decrease. We had a cold, wet May. That's about it. Any questions?
Okay. Planning Commission.
So the minutes are in front of you. Relatively, it was a light meeting. We discussed the renewable energy ordinance. That was postponed. The ADU ordinance that we just saw, and then a storage container ordinance. Some minor changes to that, which I believe we'll be seeing in a little while here.
Okay, any questions of Planning Commission?
Yeah, I've got one, Mr. Bull. Is there an attendance issue or maybe a possible attendance issue with any of our planning commission members this time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
What
What is
I mean, what would you be
standard?
considered?
Well, I just noticed one of our members seems to be frequently absent, so I just wanted to get your take on that. Chuck Francesco seems to miss a handful of meetings, from what I've noticed, so.
So I believe one of those you might be looking at was a special meeting that was called. He was
Yeah,
unable to go to, so.
I think just recently, but I think he said it would be able to be at that one, but this one wasn't a special meeting, right? The one that he was absent for on June 24th.
It says regular at the top right there.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
It just, like I said, it seems like it's becoming a common thing, but maybe
Well,
not.
Their bylaws dictate what is
Yes.
too many.
4 absences, is that right?
Unexcused.
Unexcused, okay. And an excused absence would be permissible by just letting the board know?
The chairman, but yes.
The chairman, excuse me, okay. Thank you.
But it
That's all
doesn't, to answer your question, it doesn't seem to be a common trait.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, ZBA, no meeting, correct?
No meeting.
Okay, wastewater treatment plant.
I believe it's just the report. I don't think there's, well, there's one topic I do want to bring up. It's not necessarily for a decision tonight, just to make you aware of it in case it does happen. The Livingston County Drain Commissioner's Office did approach Greg Tutera about possible cold storage options. MHOG recently, with the help of Genoa Township, because Genoa Township bought some property that was near theirs, and there was an old farmhouse and some older barns. And so MHOG fixed the barns up, and so they're in this agreement with Genoa Township essentially to make sure that Genoa Township gets paid back. Because I don't know who paid for it, but the agreement is for the fixes that were done. So when the Drain Commission was talking to Greg about it, Greg had mentioned the storage structure that is on the wastewater treatment plant property that they don't use. There are things that are in it, but most of them are, not well kept from the previous operators. Things that, like there's a snow plow in there that actually belonged to the previous operators. Part of their contract was that snow removal was their job, so they had a plow, but they left it in that barn. So there's things that are in there, but it's nothing that MHOG uses to operate our plant or any of their plants. And the barn needs some work. There's some issues with the roof. There's a few other minor things that, could be taken care of. And so Greg mentioned this to the Livingston County Drain Commissioner's office in part of this discussion about cold storage. So, I met with Greg and a representative from the Drain Commissioner's office discussing possibly renting this barn from the township for a certain period of time. Repairs would have to be done, so maybe a similar structure to the way M-Hog fixed up the barns on the Genoa Township property. So we did have a discussion. We'll see what the Drain Commissioner comes back with. Maybe they won't, maybe they will, but I just wanted to make you aware of it so that if it does come back, you've at least heard the first part of the story.
Okay. Questions, concerns?
I will say that I was pleasantly surprised with the work that happened as far as renovating the barns. I did not think that was going to be possible. But M-Hog found a good contractor, and they were able to actually do a very good job to renovate those cold storage barns.
You would never know what those barns looked like a year ago.
When I first looked at them, I said, tear them down.
Yeah, it's not
Just
waste
tear
the
'em down.
time.
They're not worth it.
Yeah. Parks and Recreation. Are there minutes in here? There are minutes in here.
No.
Anything
Pepper?
to, yeah, anything to add?
Just working on Melon Fest over there, pretty much getting ready and geared up for that now. They've gotten their licensing approved from the city, so they're just working on Melon Fest now.
Okay, any questions, HAPRA? Property Committee? We saw it.
The property committee, the Park and Rec, and the Shiawassee River are all kind of contained in the next two items.
Go for it. The table is yours.
So we did get a letter back from the EPA, and it's not that it's, that the property is great and there's no issues, but considering what we want to do, they don't seem to have an issue with it. Knowing what it is that our plan was, and that kind of dovetails into the environmental report that we had done on all of the township property in the Thule Road corridor. There are some issues on those properties. Some of them are dealing with things in the groundwater, but anything that would happen on those properties development-wise would be hooked to township water, so there wouldn't be an issue with that. Some of the issues are from the testing facility that was out there, the lab. There's a few, they tested that site quite a bit more, in my opinion, than the other ones. I didn't look at the numbers, but it looked like there were a lot more dots in that area. Considering what we know, if we ever developed these properties, I think we would essentially stay away from the area that used to be the lab. And maybe there are some cleanup things that need to be done. I know that as part of their phase 1, they found an old farm dump site on one of the 80-acre parcels on the property before it kind of descends down towards the river and the flood basin there around the river. So obviously, those things need to be taken care of. Same with the lab. There's still things that are up there that need to be removed. But I think working through these few items, as long as we're conscientious about it and, trying to take care of the issues we know about, I think we're going to be all right.
Okay, any questions or thoughts?
I did. On page 15, Jonathan, and the conclusions and recommendations of that report. So it seemed like there was only 3 of the parcels that were affected, and the only things that were found were any concern was arsenic in the soil and PFBS in the groundwater, which, all things considered, I think that's pretty good, right? Because I think the arsenic, they said, is naturally occurring in the soil, so that's not even a man-made contaminant. And the PFBS is a subset of PFAS, is that,
That's my understanding as well.
Right,
Yep.
So that seems to be everywhere, so I like you said, we're gonna be hooking up to city water anyway. So it did recommend that we have a due care plan.
And they are working on it.
That's what they're working.
They're currently working on it, and I was actually thinking they might actually have it done. The way they made it sounded like maybe we'd have it in time for this meeting, but it didn't.
So
come in time.
ATSI is working on that?
Yes.
Okay. In the letter from, it's from you, so I would commend you on it, from the EPA is nice to have.
Oh,
That's basically, the way they word it is crafty, but it kind of gives us some additional protection as a township.
I believe so, yes.
Yep.
So, those were my only comments. So I think, all in all, we're looking pretty good as far as the properties were concerned, other than your mentions, and, I mean, we didn't get a lot of the PCBs that we might have, with the property being there or anything like that, right? So, but that was my only comments. Thank you.
Okay, any others? Disbursements.
Move to accept the disbursements as presented and any normal and customary payments for the month.
Support.
Motion by Hohenstein, second by Doss. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion by Doss, second by Counts. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.